I'm going to call to order the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for May the 19th. I'm going to call to order the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for May the 19th, 2026. Thank you to the patients for the community so the commissioners could get a brief break between our sessions. We'll go to our first item is invocation or reflection. Commissioner Mazur has gone home for the evening, so Commissioner Wheeler has volunteered to take this. Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you. No need to stand. I'll just say, let us begin by acknowledging the importance of this gathering. And may we strive to create a space where everyone feels valued and heard. May we approach the tasks at hand with open minds and hearts and seek to understand and learn from one another. And if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Wheeler. We'll go to item 3, which is our roll call. Clerk, will you please call our roll?
Commissioner DeLue?
Here.
Commissioner Gisler? Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler?
Here.
Commissioner Mazur? Commissioner Morales?
Present.
Commissioner Ray?
Present.
Chair Strebs?
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler?
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. And both Commissioner Gisler is away with family today, and Commissioner Mazur was present earlier, but not needed to go home. All right, we'll go to item 4. This is our proclamations. First, we'll take up item 2026-508, a request for approval of a 25-year proclamation honoring Yvette Harrison, juvenile probation officer from the Kalamazoo County 9th Circuit Court. Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. This is a proclamation to honor Yvette Harrison. Whereas Yvette Harrison has served the residents of Kalamazoo County for 25 years as of April 1st, 2026. And whereas Yvette Harrison has faithfully served as a juvenile probation officer. And whereas Yvette has worked diligently to build and strengthen partnerships with community agencies, meaningful opportunities for young people. And whereas through the Bridging Opportunities program, Yvette has played an instrumental role in helping youth gain access to summer employment opportunities that promote responsibility, skill development, confidence, and positive community engagement. And whereas the County of Kalamazoo wishes to acknowledge and honor employees who have longevity under the umbrella of county government, since it is through longevity that expertise in employees' particular field is achieved. And now, therefore, be it therefore be it proclaimed that the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners does hereby acknowledge with gratitude the many years of dedication and service Yvette Harrison has imparted to the residents of the county and offers its best wishes for many more years of mutual association.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler and supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations. Commissioner Wheeler, do you want to present that, sir? If you will come forward, Commissioner Wheeler would like to just present you with a copy of your proclamation. What was that? Yeah, somebody will. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your service. Thanks for being here with us this evening. Good. Congratulations. Commissioner DeLu.
I have a proclamation to honor Chastity Harder Laws. Whereas Chastity Harder Laws has served the residents of Kalamazoo County for 25 years as of May 14th, 2026. Whereas Chastity Harder Laws has faithfully served as a hearing and vision specialist. And whereas the County of Kalamazoo wishes to acknowledge and honor employees who have longevity under the umbrella of county government, since it is through longevity that the expertise in employees' particular field is achieved. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed, the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners does hereby acknowledge with gratitude the many years of dedication and service Chastity Harder Laws has imparted to the residents of the county and offers its best wishes for many more years of mutual association.
Motion is made by Commissioner DeLu, supported by Vice Chair Taylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations. Chastity, I believe that you are in attendance this evening as well. Are you with us? Right, I'm not seeing her. I know. Well, we appreciate your service and thank you so much. And we'll recognize that as we go forward. All right, thank you. All right, next we have a proclamation honoring Emil Zimmer, Sergeant from the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office. Oh, goodness. To entertain a motion.
Do you need me to read it or so moved?
You can, if you, up to you.
Whereas Emil Zimmer has served the residents of Kalamazoo County for 25 years as of April 1st, 2026. Whereas Emil Zimmer has faithfully served as a sergeant, and whereas the County of Kalamazoo wishes to acknowledge and honor employees who have longevity under the umbrella of county government, since it is through longevity that expertise in the employee's particular field is achieved. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners does hereby acknowledge with gratitude the many years of dedication and service Emil Zimmer has imparted to the residents of the county and offers its best wishes for many more years of mutual association.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations, Emil. I know Emil is not in attendance this evening, but again, thank you for your service to the county and all of our constituents and residents. All right, next we're going to move forward for the proclamation to proclaim recognizing June 2026 as Justice Against Bullying at Schools, or JABS Awareness Month in Kalamazoo County. Do you have anyone who'd like to read that to the record? Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. Proclaiming June 2026 Justice Against Bullying at Schools, JABS Awareness Month in Kalamazoo County. Whereas Justice Against Bullying at School, JABS, has served nearly 800 youth impacted by bullying in Kalamazoo County since 2016. And whereas during that time, JABS has raised awareness, educated, supported, and empowered youth who have been affected by bullying in some way. Whereas the JABS initiative was recognized by the governor on its 5th anniversary and presented with a certificate of recognition. And whereas JABS employs and trains youth impacted by bullying and gun violence through the JABS Event Factory. And whereas JABS strongly supports the inclusion of students in the development of anti-bullying policy-making process and allows students to form and organize groups to advocate for their own right to safe, bully-free, nonviolent educational spaces. And whereas anti-bullying initiatives like JABS are proving to be transformative in combating the childhood traumatic events of bullying in academic environments, as well as enhancing better outcomes for students. And whereas Kalamazoo County has resolved to be a leader in trauma-informed work and has adopted a resolution to build County on April 3rd, 2018. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners recognizes June 2026 to be Justice Against Bullying at School JABS Awareness Month from this day forward, and encourages all Kalamazoo County residents to recognize and support justice against bullying at school for strengthening our community and holding onto the promise for everyone, especially the school-aged youth in Kalamazoo County.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler and supported by Vice Chair Taylor. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations. Jabs, would you like to come up and receive your proclamation? Take that to them. I don't know if any of the commissioners want to join. Go ahead and come forward. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. I am going to take the privilege just to read the next proclamation. This is a proclamation recognizing June 2026 as Pride Month in Kalamazoo County. Whereas June 2026 marks the 57-year anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising. And whereas the Stonewall Uprising has led to the commemoration of June as LGBTQIA Pride Month. And whereas Outfront Kalamazoo has served as the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender, or LGBTQIA community of Southwest Michigan for the past 30 years. And whereas during that time, the LGBTQIA community has grown in the face of adversity to become a more safe, welcome, and visible part of the community of Kalamazoo County. And whereas the people of Kalamazoo, including the City of Kalamazoo, City of Portage, Kalamazoo Township, Oshtemo Township, have actively supported their LGBTQIA neighbors through a growing number of human rights ordinances that protect people from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity in housing, employment, and public accommodations. And whereas Kalamazoo County accepts the full equality for the LGBTQIA community as nevertheless yet to be realized, and continues to strive toward the end of LGBTQIA plus homelessness in Kalamazoo, the end of LGBTQIA plus teen suicide and bullying in our society, and to the end of isolated and harassed LGBTQIA plus elders in our nursing homes and assisted living facilities, among so much more. And whereas Outfront Kalamazoo continues providing to the LGBTQIA plus and allied community members in need of access to resources necessary to help all people of our community be happy, healthy, and productive members of society. And whereas Kalamazoo County and Outfront Kalamazoo celebrate the diversity of all sexual orientations and gender identities, embrace the county's principle of treating residents with dignity, honesty, respect, and fairness, and promote a community where everyone can love who they are. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes June 2026 to be LGBTQIA plus Pride Month in Kalamazoo County and encourages all Kalamazoo County residents to recognize and support Outfront Kalamazoo and Kalamazoo Pride for strengthening our community.
So moved.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Ray. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. I think we have representatives who'd like to come forward. Michael, do you want to share any comments? You're welcome to do that if you'd like as well. They know they could too.
And nobody else really got to say anything, so I do feel kind of bad taking the space. But what I will say is that I'm great to go after Jazz because we can't do this work alone, and they've been doing this work for so long. So it's great to see them be recognized. But also, I appreciate the acknowledgement because this is at a time where it's hard to be LGBTQ, Black or Brown, in the community across America. We're seeing over 800 pieces of legislation go across the country against specifically trans folks. And so it is hard to do what y'all are doing today. So thank you for having us and thank you for the acknowledgement.
I will backtrack a moment and afford the opportunity if Ms. Gwendolyn Hooker, if you would like to speak. Intended to do that, of course, you will come to show up. Welcome to you, Gwendolyn, and back to our recognition of Jabs. Welcome.
I appreciate you all so much. Of course, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Taylor, Vice Chair Pro Tem, and all of our commissioners, administrators. I am just really super excited to be here. I believe this is, I want to say our 12th year, but we've been doing this for a while, and every year you guys have really led the work of proclaiming June Justice Against Bullying at School Awareness Month. I'm super excited that it just so happens that the way that the agenda fell this time, We are amongst the partners in our community with the gun violence proclamation, with the LGBTQ Pride Month proclamation, as well as, of course, JAB. So I'm super excited to be in very, very good company. Also, to that point, you all know I have parting gifts. In partnership with many of the folks that are here, we are having our kickoff to gun violence rally on June the 27th, and we have some flyers. We would love for you guys to put it on your calendar. It really is a kickoff to our rally, but it also is recognition of a life that we lost at the skateboard park at Davis Street Park. And so we will be having our kickoff to our annual gun violence rally in the Vine neighborhood at Davis Street Park this year. So please, if your schedule allows, save the date and come out and honor and celebrate the lives that we've lost thus far to gun violence and bullying. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Gwen. All right, do we have a commissioner who'd like to read our gun violence? Okay, Commissioner Wheeler, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. This is a proclamation declaring the first Friday in June 2026 to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas every day, nearly 130 people in the United States are killed by gun violence, and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 19,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas people in the United States are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And whereas in Michigan has 1,423 gun deaths every year, with a rate of 15 deaths per 100,000 people, a crisis that costs the state $16.8 billion each year, of which $380.5 million is paid by taxpayers. Michigan has the 28th highest rate of gun deaths in the U.S. And whereas gun homicides and assaults are concentrated in cities, with more than half of all gun homicides in the nation occurring in 42 cities. And whereas counties across the nation, including Kalamazoo, are working to end the senseless violence with evidence-based solutions. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is the Commission's highest responsibility. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from those who are a danger to themselves or others. And whereas committee chairpersons, committee members, and law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best, are more familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their residents safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever as we see gun violence continue to impact communities across the country. And whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15, and on June 5th, 2026, to recognize the 29th birthday of Hadia Pendleton, born June 2nd, 1997, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange in tribute to 1, Hadia Pendleton and other victims of gun violence, and 2, the loved ones of those victims. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is the color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 5th, the first Friday in June 2026, to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 5th, 2026, people across the United States will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the hands of people who should not have access to them, and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and communities safe. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners hereby declares the first Friday in June 5th, 2026, to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. The Board of Commissioners encourages all residents to support our community's efforts to prevent the tragic impacts of gun violence and to save lives.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler and supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, let's pose again, right? Come on. All right, let us recognize our partners. Rick, would you like to come forward? Rick O'Million from Mom's Demand Action.
Hey, you're welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again. Many years of this kind of support. Appreciate it. All the things you've done about gun violence as a public health crisis, CAP and the work that you've done, and the ARPA money that's been used for fighting gun violence. I also want to introduce, I'm from Cooper Township, but I want to introduce Rhea from our Coalition of Student Demand Action members in Kalamazoo County. She wanted to say a word too.
Hello, my
Welcome,
name.
Rita.
Sorry. Hello, my name is Rhea Bott. I'm a student at Portage Northern, but I live in Kalamazoo County. And I'm the co-founder and one of the co-presidents of Students Demand Action Club at Portage Northern. And I'm also part of the Southwest Michigan Coalition Board for Students Demand Action. And I, again, just want to emphasize thank you so much for this proclamation. And this really encourages especially youth at our school and in the local community to get involved with initiatives preventing gun violence, and especially Wear Orange Day and National Gun Violence Awareness Day. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So wear orange on June 5th, and we will be at Pride and other tabling events. And I think we need to talk to Jabs. Oh, yes. And we gave you all a pin you can wear on the 5th. Courtesy of Barb Van Esseltine, one of our members. She said they need pins. So thank you very much for your help over the years.
Thank you very much. All right. I see council. We do have a couple of other, yeah. We have a couple other proclamations, but we're going to amend the agenda. They'll come up at the end. Okay. All right. Made it. That's all of those. Okay. Let's go to communications. Okay. Let me find my little notepad here a second. So we are in receipt of a number of reports this evening. So we have the Housing Department's 2025 annual report. We're in receipt of the Animal Services and Enforcement 2025 annual report. We received a child care millage proposal, email correspondence. And then licensed childcare facilities. We received a map. We're grateful to Planning Department and GIS for putting that map together. Commissioners can see licensed childcare settings in their districts and the census that they serve in those facilities. And then we received an email regarding jail telecommunications contract and bid email correspondence. And so just brief on that, the housing department, we did receive a 4-year performance breakdown of the housing millage. Within that report, the community has access to and can review. We've spent $12.6 million on multi-family developments, $5 million on single-family homes, $4.9 million in supportive services, $2.6 million in rehabilitation of homes and rentals, and then $2.3 million of creative projects, including projects that benefited people with disabilities in our community. In general, we have funded and helped to construct 1,882 housing units at this point through the support from the housing millage and the work of our housing department. And that's a lot to celebrate. So thank you for that. Yeah, that's good. And then briefly, I want to recognize the animal services. 2,076 animals were either reunited, adopted, or transferred into other care. 61% of animals that came into the animal shelter had a positive outcome where they were sent to another loving place to live. That's the highest rate of positive outcomes in the last 5 years. So I want to thank Director Ensign and his team for that. And thanks to Director Balkema and Deputy Housing Director Willa de Toronto for their work on the housing, in the housing department as well. I am in receipt of one more communication. Now I gotta find it. A FOIA request appeal. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Council.
Yes, ma'am. That was a FOIA request, a FOIA appeal request received from Joseph Schuler.
Thank you. You wrote that out nicely for me and then I lost it in my
That's fine.
pile of stuff.
That's fine.
Thank you. So we will recognize that we are in receipt of that appeal as well. Okay, we'll go on to approval of the minutes. So a request for approval, May 6, 2026 draft committee of the whole and regular meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
Who supported? Good, we have a motion by Vice Chair Pro Tem, supported by Commissioner Morales for approval of May 6th COW and regular meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Number 7 is approval of agenda. So we need to move to amend the agenda to add a proclamation. Let me scroll to how it's worded. Proclamation of condolence honoring the life of Magnolia Maggie Bodley and request for proclamation of condolence honoring the life of Betty Louise Cunningham. Can someone make a motion to amend the agenda? Motion's made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Commissioner Morales. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. So now we'll move approval of the agenda as amended.
I'll move.
Motion made by Vice Chair, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the agenda as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay. All right, now we're going to go to presentations. So first we will welcome forward Honorable Chief Circuit Court Chief Judge Gary G. Gajer. I'm sorry, I always trip on your name like that. and our Honorable District Court Chief Judge, the Honorable Kathleen Hemingway. Welcome, judges. Thank you. Sorry, I tripped on your name, Judge Jagir. I got it eventually.
Not the first guy.
No. I bet you might be used to that too much in your life, I bet. All right, thank you and welcome to you, and we'll be in receipt of your annual report.
Good, thank you. And good afternoon, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners and Administrators. I'm going to go first because I was listed first in the agenda and cover the circuit and probate courts. I'm not going to regurgitate what is in the annual report, but instead we'll simply highlight a few key facts and tell you about an initiative that was too new to include in the annual report that I think you'll be interested in. I'll start by saying that the state of the circuit and probate courts as of May of 2026 is strong but fully engaged. 2025 saw significant structural changes to the circuit and probate courts for Kalamazoo County. Under the leadership of Administrator Kuish and myself, we changed our business units to more effectively address our changing caseloads. So now we have a criminal division with 4 judges that are serving at the Pratt Justice Center. We have a family division with 3 judges serving at the Gull Road Justice Center, and a newly created civil probate division with 2 judges serving at the Gull Road Justice Center. Of course, one of those 2 judges is me, serving in my temporary chambers and courtroom in the basement there. The civil probate merger is the first or one of the very first such mergers in the state of Michigan. It offers convenience to litigants and lawyers having one physical location and lends itself to operational efficiencies. We're still kind of figuring out, but the first months of this merger are going very well. I wanted to highlight that in 2025, we contracted with ISK to add a full-time master's level counselor that is now embedded at the juvenile home, who services the juvenile home residents and also on-track participants. And this has been an unqualified success, having her in the facility treating those juveniles. I wanted to highlight one area of concern, and this is an increase in the petitions for involuntary mental health treatment cases. We've seen a spike in that. I don't know if you noticed that in the annual report. This is directly attributable to the opening of the Kalamazoo Behavioral Health Hospital on 9th Street. As they're ramping up and going online, they still are not fully operational, but we've seen a marked increase there. You should be aware that while by statute we have to perform the services on those cases, the majority of these cases are not our residents. They're from other counties that are finding their way to Kalamazoo, which is becoming more and more of a hub for mental health treatment. And it's only going to become more of an issue, but we have to handle those cases and we are handling them. But that's why you see that spike in those numbers in our annual report. With regard to the adult men's and women's drug court, I know that you're all familiar with these flagship programs, and I appreciate the individual commissioners. I think all of you have attended, and some of you attend on a regular basis, and we do appreciate that, and the participants appreciate that. These programs continue to be successful. They continue to save lives, and they're popular alternatives to incarceration. However, this is an area of concern for court administration and myself, because as with all programming across all disciplines that has any degree of dependence on federal social service dollars or federal grants flowing through to fund those programs, in our instance, burn grants and SAMHSA grants, we have to maintain constant vigilance, watching over our revenue sources, controlling costs, and doing contingency planning so that we can keep those programs going. We have great lines of communication that are open with county administration, and we're certain that if something does appear on our horizon that would negatively affect those programs or our ability to provide those important services, we'd be in a position to work with leadership quickly to look at all options that would be available for us. The final area that I want to touch on is one that I know that you all hear from constituents about, and that is jury service. First, I want you to understand and appreciate that in Kalamazoo County, the circuit, probate, and district courts have a unified jury services office, and all potential jurors in the county are coordinated through it. This is not true in the majority of the jurisdictions in this state, and it gives us an operational edge, and it provides significant savings to our taxpayers by not duplicating those services across the three courts. That coordinated office called in more panels, 123 versus 114 in 2025 than we did in 2024. And of those panels brought in, more panels were actually used in a courtroom, 87 versus 82 in 24 and 25 over 2024. This is a lot of involuntary civic engagement by our citizens, and we strive to make the experience comfortable and meaningful for them. And we're very cognizant of that we're taking them away from their lives. So I want you to know that we do focus on this. Second, I want to tell you about a brand new program, a brand new effort rather, that we're working on. And I know of no other such effort anywhere in Michigan. Commissioner Kuish, my counterpart in the district court, Chief Judge Hemingway, and Kevin Tatro, nobody knows of a program like this in Michigan. So if we're not the first in Kalamazoo, we're certainly among the first. And that is to recognize the need for and provide services to jurors who have served in trauma-inducing cases. Imagine, if you will, being a juror, being involuntarily brought to us and pressed into service on a gruesome murder case, or a child criminal sexual conduct case, or a manufacture or possession of child sexually abusive material case, or a domestic violence case. You're forced to hear explicit testimony, see graphic pictures, shocking videos over the course of several days, all while you're under instructions to talk to no one about the case or what's going on with the case until your service is over. And when your service is over, we just pay you the fairly paltry sum that we pay you and send you home. And we send you a thank you letter, and that's the way that it's always worked. I can assure you that the judges and the lawyers and the staff who all chose this profession, and we put ourselves in those courtrooms, we're negatively affected by these cases. Study after study shows this. We offer and encourage those folks in our offices to avail themselves of the great employee assistance program that you provide for us, and many of us have used that. So why would we think that jurors would not be equally, if not more, affected as being civilians having to see these things? That's why we've coordinated with the 8th District Court, the Circuit Court, and Probate Court, along with Griffin Place, to offer jurors counseling and referral services for a period after their jury service, especially on tough cases, but on any case, really. Now, we're past the thinking part of this project, and we're about to begin the implementation phase, so stay tuned. And I promise to return and report back once it's been in place for a bit and we have some data, whether it's empirical data or anecdotal data, but we'll have to run this for a little bit so that we can tell you how it's working. But we're very happy and we're very proud that we're at the forefront of an effort in this state to recognize the trauma that jurors can experience based on these types of cases, and being able to do that with your support. The rest of the year in review is in the report itself, and I thank you for giving us the chance to come in and hit a few highlights at the outset of your meeting. All of you know this already because I think just about everyone in this room has availed themselves of my telephone number or my email or text on occasion with a question, but I always stand ready. If you have something that has anything to do with the circuit or probate courts, I am only a phone call away, and I invite you to call me. If I don't have the answer, I'll find the person that has the answer and get back with you very, very quickly. So thank you, and I'll give the rest of the time to Chief Judge Hemingway.
Thank you, Chief Judge.
Thank you once again for having us here this evening. We did compare notes, so we're going to try to cover different areas because in addition to our 54-page report, as the chair mentioned, there were several reports that you all had to review from various departments, and we appreciate that. As a reminder, the 8th District Court, we have 6 elected judges and a magistrate. We cover criminal matters, civil matters. That also includes landlord-tenant cases, which I'll touch upon in a moment. Like Judge DeGuerre, we're very proud of our specialty courts. We appreciate the continued support of the commission. As a reminder, in 2025, our sobriety court had 25 participants. Veterans Treatment Court, which is still in its infant stage. As of today's date, has 3. I just talked with the Probation Services Director. We expect in the coming weeks those numbers will double. The month of May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So as a presiding judge of the Mental Health Recovery Court, I'm proud to share that we are in our 18th year. So we are now an adult and helped 14 participants last year, but even into this year, we already are up to 20. One thing I want to highlight, and it's especially appropriate that you'll next be hearing from the Housing Department, is the partnership that exists in the Kalamazoo County Eviction Diversion Program. That is a partnership between the 8th District Court, Housing Resources Incorporated, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and our local legal aid office. In 2025, HRI assisted 327 households through eviction diversion services. There was $187,285 in direct support. In total, $1,025,698.32 was provided for back rent, current rent, security deposits, and utility assistance. And again, that has always had the support of county leadership, which again, you have our sincere thanks. Also, with the support of county leadership, we have certainly prioritized professional development opportunities for our employees. It was especially appropriate to see the proclamations today from members that have worked here in the county for 25 years. And certainly we hope through these professional development efforts that we can encourage these employees to continue to stay here. That's, of course, included on-site trainings, conference attendance, and professional certifications. And thank you again to the County Human Resources Department, who continues to let us know about training opportunities that our employees can take advantage of. One big item from 2025 that I want to highlight is the MyFile implementation. For all civil cases in the 8th District Court, attorneys and pro se litigants can file through MyFile. Again, when we all talk about the importance of access to justice, this does provide improved access because filings can occur electronically and do not require the physical trip to the courthouse. I would be remiss if I, of course, did not tell everyone here that administrations for the Circuit Court, Probate Court, and the 8th District Court are, of course, watching to see in Lansing what will happen with the legislation that is pending. Again, as a reminder, the recommendation is for 1 new District Court judge and 1 new Circuit Court judge. And again, we appreciate the board's support in these early stages as we all wait to see what happens in Lansing. We very much appreciate the relationship that we have with county administration. And I'll just end by echoing Judge Jagir's remarks. We're nothing more than a phone call, a text, or an email away. And again, we continue to appreciate the support of the board. Thank you very much for allowing us to highlight our annual report from 2025.
Thank you very much, Chief Judge. Do we have questions from commissioners? Right, what was that? Okay, Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank you both for your hard work and all of these programs that you guys continually administer and help us help our citizens. There has to be accountability in justice and law enforcement, and you folks have shown a great deal of inspiration and accountability as we try to continue to make Kalamazoo a great place to live, work, and play. Got it in twice. I get it 2 times.
That's 2 points for Vice Chair Pro Tem. Vice Chair.
Just really quick, county government is naturally, with the state constitution, it's a naturally siloed sort of organization. And you guys in the courts or probate circuit, you guys do a great job of collaborating with the jury pool, with everything else, so that you make resources more efficient. And I think it's a model for the rest of the state. So congratulations and thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you. I just want to express how pleased I am to hear about the support for jury members and I mean, that's just completely innovative and just such a humane and caring thing to offer to them for that service. So just thank you so much for thinking of that and doing that for people. I do have a couple of questions, and I have others that I may follow up with later, but one of the real jewels and something that this community has led on are our treatment courts. And I just wanted to understand in the analysis, you provided us so much detail, which I need more time to absorb all of it. But the graduation rates for treatment court, for women's treatment court, it mentioned that there were 16 enrollments and 16 graduations, but they called it a 59% graduation rate. So I'm not sure if there's an explanation or if there's just the timing of when new enrollees come in.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it is at any given time, we might have up to 50 women in the program.
Okay.
So you have rolling graduations, rolling entries. So that's a year over year. How many? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But I noticed, so 59% of women coming through that program during this term graduated, which is a wonderful rate of success, but it's much lower for men's treatment court, around a third of the men. Is that a typical rate of success for men's treatment court? Was this a difficult year? And is there anything that we could be aware of as a board while we endeavor utilization of like our opioid settlement funds to help like support men's recovery through that process, if there's any insight?
The part of the question that I can answer here is that number is not an anomaly across other programs in similar communities across the country. The men's rates are lower. What the cause of that is, I would have to talk with Sarah Green, the director of the specialty courts, and get back with you, and I will certainly do that. I don't know the answer to that. And then the final part about are there ways that we could use resources to improve that? I'm certain that we could get some improvements for that, but I'm not sure if all communities across the board are seeing those same numbers, if we'd get the best bang for our buck by trying to raise our men's rates, or if we wouldn't have a better use of those funds, recognizing that those numbers are going to be lower, but use those scarce resources in another manner. But on those two items, I will certainly get back with you on either Chad will or Sarah Green.
Thank you. And that's apt for us to think through together. I would venture to guess it's just because men live too much of their life in isolation without enough support and natural supports around them. I hope we as a society work to address that. Another I just wanted to touch on briefly was guardianships for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Sure.
So just with the opportunity to discuss this, I think I've mentioned it before when we've come and met with the courts, but there's something called the National Court Indicators that does evaluation of supports for people with IDD diagnosis across the US. And in the state of Michigan, one of the metrics that they've targeted for improvement is the rate of full legal guardianships imposed on people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The state of Michigan actually far exceeds the rate, the national average of those guardianships. And I would love to hear some additional information about the rate that the guardianship is awarded as plenary or full guardianships, or when partial guardianships are considered, and if the court has endeavored in much education about supported decision-making models, because sometimes you hope a guardian will like honor the wishes of individuals, but sometimes guardians are very controlling of individuals and take away like whether they're allowed to wear red shirts or not. And so we want to offer people a capacity to, have some autonomy of their lives. So I just welcome any insight or maybe future dialogue around that.
Yeah, I think probably a more in-depth dialogue at a later date. That it doesn't lend itself well to, a short, in a public forum like this, in a short discussion. But having handled these types of cases over the past 2.5 years, I've come to develop a great appreciation for the position that you're advocating. We always look for the least restrictive legal method that we can do to make sure that a person has autonomy, but also that they have the ability to have the decisions made, or to get the decisions made that they need to make for their placement decisions, for their medical decisions, for all those legal decisions that have to be made. And so we do look at every alternative to guardianship before they get there. And our staff is very good at screening those, referring people for powers of attorney and different things. And there are a variety of other alternatives that are being discussed at the state level. And this is very much on everybody's radar throughout the probate community, including myself, Judge Bell, and the other John Taylor, who's the probate register. We're all very aware of those, and we're in constant communication and talking about ways that we can do that. I'll be honest that a limited guardianship has been underutilized in Kalamazoo County for a number of years. They're kind of unwieldy. They're difficult. The reason that they're not utilized very often here is because of the pushback that we get from banks, credit unions, and medical providers who oftentimes will refuse to honor a limited guardianship or conservatorships with limitations. And so it's often, if you want the person to receive the services, we're kind of forced into going to the full or plenary, just because, again, certain credit unions will just send you away and say, well, they won't act on your behalf, or medical providers will not act on that based on their legal counsel's guidance. So part of that is coming from our customers, if you will, and clients, just to be able to help make those decisions. So it might be part of a broader discussion that if we want to move that way as a society, we're going to have some help from the people who are actually getting the letters of guardianship and looking at them and then trying to act on behalf of the ward and the protected party.
That was really helpful insight. I thank you for sharing that conflict that's occurring in court. Thank you both very
Happy
much.
to follow up later with
Absolutely,
more
absolutely.
discussion.
Thank you for taking the time, both to our chief judges.
We can get our picture with you later, right?
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay. All right, now we're going to welcome forward Housing Director Mary Balkema, Deputy Housing Director Willa DiToronto. We're going to have some discussion on staffing and operations for a medical respite shelter facility. Welcome, Director.
Good evening, Honorable Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. My name is Mary Balkema. I'm here in the capacity of your Housing Director, and I am joined in the audience by Dr. Alluri, Kelly Smith, Rosalind Adams, Tammy Natho, and Willa DiToronto, and we are talking about medical respite. So I know you want presentations to be short and sweet and to the point, so if you will give me a little bit of freedom, I will go through what we're talking about. And also, we presented to the Housing Ad Hoc Committee, so the full presentation is in the packet. But I wanted to briefly outline what our request is tonight. So right now, medically fragile individuals are discharged from hospitals back to shelters, cars, motels, encampments, or the street because there's no medically appropriate recovery setting in Kalamazoo County. Traditional shelters are not designed for post-hospital recovery. As a result, the same individuals repeatedly cycle through emergency departments, hospital admissions, law enforcement interactions, crisis systems, and shelters. This proposal is a cost avoidance strategy, not just a service expansion. The current system is reactive and very expensive. A small number of chronically homeless individuals generate disproportionate costs across publicly funded systems. Medical respite is designed to reduce repeat emergency room use, hospital readmissions, shelter strain, and long-term chronic homelessness. Respite care costs approximately 5 to 10% of hospital costs. Studies show 50 to 60% reductions in total cost of care for high utilizers. The question is not whether the county is paying. The county is already paying through fragmented crisis systems. We funded a pilot with our winter medical respite pilot, and that demonstrated a few things. Approximately an 83% reduction in hospital admissions and ED visits during and after respite participation. This is important because the board is not funding a purely theoretical concept. Local partners already tested this model. Early outcomes suggest meaningful reductions in acute care utilization. So now we have a local proof of concept data. This is a partnership model. The county is not acting alone. This proposal leverages Integrated Services of Kalamazoo, WMed, the hospital systems, our housing navigator providers, and Medicaid reimbursement pathway. The county's role is primarily a startup support, gap financing, system coordination, and stabilization through implementation. The proposal anticipates future sustainability through Medicaid reimbursement, that's very important, and healthcare integration. This directly aligns with county strategic priorities. The program advances multiple existing county goals, reducing chronic homelessness, improving coordinated care, lowering system fragmentation, supporting hospital discharge stability, improving housing outcomes, reducing pressure on emergency systems, and strengthening our public health response. It also aligns with our Housing for All priorities, the continuum of care objectives, the healthcare system integration efforts, and the Keys to Kalamazoo system coordination goals. So the request is targeted and operationally specific. The budget's not vague or conceptual. It includes 24/7 staffing. That's very important. Currently, ISK does not provide 24/7 staffing. It provides housing navigators, meals, utilities, basic furnishings, transportation and communication support, client stabilization reports. Commissioner Ray recommended in our ad hoc that we add 60,000 to this proposal for direct client assistance, which is to get these folks into permanent housing, which I know is a goal of our subcommittee. So the staffing model totals approximately 4.2 FTEs and supports continuous operations. So before you, under new business, is a proposal to allocate $464,746,000 into a 24/7 operations. I think the sheriff once told me that one person 24/7 equates to 5.2 FTEs. I don't know if that's true or not, but we're asking for 4.2. So somewhere in there, you know, it's really one employee, but it's 24/7 with vacation time and time off. Currently, they're housed at ISK. There's 2 houses on Oakland Drive that they're doing the work for. So it's they've staffed up. They're doing the work right now. But to get this facility certified as a medical respite facility, we need food and we need 24/7 care. So, Chair, that is the proposal before you in my brief explanation.
Thank you, Director Balkema. And, you know, I just want to give some recognition here for the Emergency Winter Shelter initiative that sort of launched for the initial medical respite. Just want to give my sincere thanks to the members of the continuum of care who helped to bring forward the idea, which was not initially conceived of. Also to Judy Lowry at Dignity in Motion for the heart and soul that she pulled into pulling forward a project she had not planned to run and did so with great heart. And then also to Dr. Oley and other members of your team who I'm not maybe as aware of, but Dr. Oley is a tremendous asset to our community. And really, the folks at WMed and StreetMed really volunteered their time to support very complex issues in our medical respite over this winter. And now we also have this data to show the impact. I had the ability to go in with Judy and residents at that program as they were celebrating one of their dinners together and just heard from folks there. One couple just, you know, so emotional. It was the first time in 5 years that they were not going to be sleeping out in the elements. At the end of that medical respite, they were transitioning into supportive housing. And they would have never gotten there without the support of Dignity in Motion, Dr. Oley and the team. And I'm so thankful for Dr. Oley and ISK to work for this proposal. If we fund staffing here, this facility will become licensed, and then they will be able to get Medicaid reimbursement for care and services. So it will be sustainable once we help it get stood up, and will provide tremendous benefit to community members in great need right now. There are hospitals right now that wheel people up in medical transport outside of our drop-in shelters. And they walk in there with
Open
hospital,
wounds.
yeah, wounds and hospital bracelets on, and that is just, we don't have to tolerate that. We don't. We can fix that, and let's do so tonight. Are there any questions from commissioners? Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I apologize. I missed that 464-746 number. I was looking for that this weekend and I couldn't find it, but I see it now. Where is that potential? Is that coming from the 290 fund or is that 101 or?
No, this is coming from the housing
millage dollars?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, it went through the subcommittee, then I'm in support.
Chair, Vice Chair, it's also leveraging up some tax on the sale of alcohol, some money from the Salvation Army, and also a grant from the Kalamazoo Community Foundation.
Yeah, and I apologize. I just saw that it was in the new business. I was looking at the other one and looking for it, but I just saw that. I'm trying to digest it quickly. It seems like the real savers here, the people that are going to be saving the most money, will be the hospitals and the federal Medicaid and Medicare dollars that will be saving the most money. And I know trying to get them to foot into the bill or even talking to the federal government or something like that would be an exercise in futility. But I do think at some point down the road that we're saving them an awful lot of money by doing this. We should be asking them to kick in too. But
we are talking to both hospitals, Beacon and Bronson.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you. Yes, also the community saves on it because our resources for fire and police and medical services are not being utilized to have to deal because these folks are being taken care of. And so I think this is a big plus for Kalamazoo. It's a win-win for everybody. The people that we're serving, our medical folks that are already stretched as we concur that it's a lot that they have to handle. So I think it's a big win for everybody. So we're really supportive of this. And I'm happy to sit on that committee and I support this.
Right, anything further? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Lurie. Thank you, Director Balkema, everyone involved. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to item 9 as an opportunity for public hearings. We have none. Now we'll go to item 10, which is our first opportunity for public comment. Is there anybody who would like to address the board on public comment? You may do so in person or by calling 855-925-2801, enter meeting code 10748, and then press *3 to join the queue. You can speak during both public comment periods, but you'll have to press *3 again anytime after the first public comment period has ended. You can address the board for up to 3 minutes. Please share your name and where you are from. Is there anyone wishing to make a public comment? Welcome. Shante, you have she's helping you. There, they got you.
I've
Welcome.
actually never spoken at the county, so my apologies. So, good evening, commissioners. My name is Shante Collins, and I serve as the executive director of the Campaign for Criminal Justice Transparency here in Kalamazoo County. Tonight, I would like to speak to you all about the jail telecommunications here in the county and the financial burden these systems place on incarcerated individuals and their families. Bianca Tellick, the founder and an ED of Worth Rises, which is a New York-based organization focused on dismantling the prison industry and the exploitation of incarcerated people and their families, once said, it's not just about the minutes. It's not just the minutes that matter. It's what's in the minutes that matter. That statement is important because these conversations is bigger than just phone calls. It is about access to family, support systems, stability, and human connection. Tonight, I would like to briefly highlight 5 recommendations that we have right now on our website that everyone can view. And it says, first, we are asking for full transparency on all jail telecommunication contracts, terms, rates, fees, and commission structures. Much of the current contract information was not publicly accessible until now Kalamazoo obtained it created through a FOIA request nearly 5 years after the contract was signed. Publicly administrated systems should not require residents to file record requests simply to understand how public contracts operate. Second, we are requesting a balance notification process at release. Families often deposit money into communication accounts so loved ones can stay connected while incarcerated. However, many individuals leave jail unaware that they still have money remaining in those accounts, or that there is inactivity policies that they may forfeit to. A simple written or verbal notification process at release could prevent unnecessary financial loss for families already experiencing hardship. Third, we encourage the county to move away from commission-based telecommunication contracts. When counties financially benefit from phone call revenue, the cost burden is ultimately shifted onto families and individuals. States across the country are already moving in that direction. In California, Attorney General stated that reducing the cost of communication only serves to enhance public safety in communities. Massachusetts lawmakers described free communication access as necessary to keep families connected without oppressive financial burdens. These reforms are increasingly becoming recognized not simply as criminal justice issues, but as public safety issues, family stability, and community reintegration issues. Fourth, we are requesting that future telecommunication contracts include a clear rates cap of no more than are operationally achievable. Families in Kalamazoo should not be paying significantly more simply because a loved one is housed locally instead of statewide. And finally, we are asking the county to prohibit certain fees such as deposit fees, transaction fees, and operator surcharges. These hidden fees quietly increase the true price of communication far beyond the advertised call rate and disproportionately impact low-income families trying to maintain contact with loved ones. At the core of all 5 of these recommendations is one simple thing. Communication with families should not become an excessive financial burden. As Connecticut State Senator Gary Winfield stated, when his state became the first in the country to make prison phone calls free, these people are going to be our neighbors when they come home. So these people are humans. They want us to help them. We need to help them. And I want us all to remember that the right side of history never violates nor ignores human rights. So how do we fix it together? You have the opportunity to help correct an injustice that has been occurring in our community for many years, as well as across other communities alike. Transparency, affordability, and fairness can coexist when operational needs are met. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashan. I know they give you 4 minutes at the city. That's.
Oh, sorry. Was I still talking?
You're all right.
I talked a lot, y'all. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, yeah, go ahead.
Because I knew I had 3 minutes, right?
That's right.
So I hired a little to help me out today.
Okay.
The little one.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Dedrick Davis Jr. I am a 5th grader at Washington Riders Academy. I am also on student council. Today, I am here to help my mom talk about jail reform for Kalamazoo County. CCJT wants to hear your stories about your experience connected to our local jail on their website. At ccjtkalamazoo.org, they have a page where you can share by clicking the link under the Voice tab. Your story matters here. They want to hear from anyone who has been through the Kalamazoo County Jail, who has had a loved one there, who has ever used a jail or prison phone system to stay in, could contact with someone, or who simply has something to say about how this works. Whatever your experience is, it belongs in this conversation. Your story can be shared publicly with your name published
anonymously,
or kept entirely private and used only to information. The campaign. You are in the complete control of how it is used. Right now, they have one story for you to check out from a community member who was
Interviewed.
I forgot.
I know.
Interviewed by Now Kalamazoo, and they have a link to their article on the page. As people in the community shared their experience with them, they will add them to their page with
Permission.
Permission. If you have a story to share, they would be glad to hear it. There is no pressure and no obligation. They just want to give the community a platform. We need it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I love that. You did an excellent job. Congratulations. Good job. Welcome to you. Hard act to follow, but come on up.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Caleb, and I work with the Campaign for Criminal Justice Transparency here in Kalamazoo. I also want to speak tonight about the jail telecommunications contract, specifically our second ask requiring a balanced notification process at release. Under the current system, the vendor charges a fee every time someone deposits money into their account. Because of that, many families try to avoid repeated fees by loading larger amounts of money onto accounts all at once. That way, they only pay the fee once a month versus once a week. As a result, when someone is released from jail, there is often money left over in that telecommunications account. In many cases, that money was deposited by family members trying to stay connected during incarceration. The problem is that many people do not realize those balances can expire. This practice led to a major class action settlement after GTL, now operating as Viapath, was found liable for seizing over $96 million through unused account forfeitures. When someone is leaving jail, they are focused on transportation, housing, employment, medications, reconnecting with family, and rebuilding stability. Recovering money from a telecommunications account is understandably not going to be their first priority. And when those funds are ultimately forfeited, it can place individuals and families into even more difficult financial situations after release. At minimum, people should not leave a county facility without being informed that money belonging to them could disappear if they take no action. That is why our second ask is straightforward. As part of the release process, individuals should either be assisted in recovering the remaining balance, or they should receive a clear verbal and written explanation describing that the balance exists, when it may expire, and how to reclaim it. Because these protections vary at the local level, the language included in this contract matters. This would be a low-cost and administratively feasible reform that improves transparency and helps protect individuals and families from preventable financial loss. If anyone watching would like to learn more about how these systems operate and why these contract decisions matter, I encourage you to visit ccjtkalamazoo.org. You will see a section on our homepage to learn more about this. This contract will eventually come before this board, and when it does, we are asking you to look closely at it. We believe a better contract is possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? Okay, I'm seeing none. Is there anyone online? Okay. All right, we're going to close this first public comment opportunity, and we will move to item 11, which is our consent agenda.
Chair, if I may,
Yes,
I
Commissioner
move
Wheeler.
that the consent agenda items be voted on at one time by a roll call vote and be considered as a consent agenda by the board.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler and supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Excuse me, any further discussion? All right, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strips,
Yes.
7 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. All right. We'll go next now to unfinished business and general orders. So we'll take up item 2026-610. This is a request for approval of a resolution approving a revised conflict of interest form. And let's see. Who, administrator, do you want to lead or council? Thank you, council. You lead, open that discussion for us, please.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. At the last meeting that this was discussed at, Corporation Counsel's office was directed to add directors and deputy department directors that have to also complete the conflict of interest forms on an annual basis. We've updated the conflict of interest form to comport more with the state law and to provide for more transparency. That was the direction given to Corporation Counsel's office, and that's what we attempted to do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, council. Is there any additional questions from the commissioners? Vice Chair.
So this does include then all department heads and people that report to the county board as well.
While not mentioned in the resolution, it is part of what I'm working with the HR department to include in the policy guide. Yes, sir. We will be doing that.
So it's not in here, but it's a plan to do it in the future.
It's as part of the personnel policies booked for the directors and deputy directors. Yes.
So go ahead, Commissioner Wheeler. No, go ahead.
I'll just say, it is in there that it says administration directors, deputy directors, so they're just codifying it in policy.
Good, so it's on the form and then there'll be a subsequent additional policy revision.
That is correct,
come
yes, ma'am.
fully. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything further from commissioners? All right, I am seeing none. I'd entertain a motion.
Chair, I'll move to approve the resolution approving revised conflict of interest form.
So motion made, is there support? Thank you. Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler and supported by Commissioner DeLu. Is there further discussion? All right, I'm seeing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales.
No.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor.
No.
5 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Let's go to items of new business, our non-consent agenda. Scrolling, pardon me. All right, so first we're going to discuss approval and signature of a direct award for Marathon Health. Welcome, I believe, want me to welcome HR Director Sharon Brown, patiently waiting in the wings. Welcome, Director.
Thank you, Board of Commissioners. Nice to see you this evening. So before you have a proposal for us to renew our contract with Marathon Health Clinic. We're asking you to renew that for a 5-year contract this time through. As you know, we've just are wrapping up our first 3-year pilot, which has been tremendously successful. I believe in your packet you have the form that gives you kind of the Marathon Health at a glance and how well that has gone. I think the number one thing to highlight is the program pays for itself in the sense that, thank you, going through the Marathon Clinic for the county side in terms of our self-funded healthcare plan, we see a return on investment that equates out to about 1.31 for every dollar we've put in there. And that is through the cost savings that are highlighted there on the return on investment. Things like the fact that our medical services are less expensive when paid for through Marathon than they would be if people went to private providers elsewhere. We also see the value of those health visits where nationally the average time that you get to spend with your doctor speaking is usually 7 to 8 minutes, maybe 15 minutes in the room with them. At Marathon, we see that more than half of our visits are over 30 minutes each. 800 visits last year were over 30 minutes each. So people are getting more actual care, more time to talk with their doctor and get their health questions addressed. Some of those things that come up at the end of the appointment that you're like, oh, I wanted to ask you this. That extra time extends that for our employees and their families who are going to Marathon. And then that equates into better health outcomes as well, because people who are being seen at Marathon are getting more follow-up care, they're getting more trusted relationship with their doctor, and they're able to get in quickly to be seen, which another value add there is the tremendous savings over the cost of acute and urgent care, or at the emergency room, which is $150, $250 each visit, just to the employee, not to mention what we're paying out of pocket for the self-funded plan. And that's the other piece of the value add is for our employees themselves. Not only is this saving us money for the healthcare plan overall, which ultimately then brings down premiums or at least keeps them from going up as quickly, but it also is out-of-pocket costs are lower for our employees who go there. For folks who are on our enhanced plan, they get to be seen at the doctor for $0. For folks who are on the high deductible plan, they only pay $25 for that visit, even while they're still waiting to meet their deductible. So that kind of, your kid has a cold and your high deductible plan would normally be causing you to pay for that completely out of pocket to see your doctor. You're paying just $25 at Marathon. So it's much less expensive. We also have very quick response times for people to be able to get in and get seen. That is my phone. It's garbage night and I'm supposed to put the garbage out there. Sorry. I heard it going off and I didn't know what to do. What are the odds that we go off immediately when I get up here? There we go. I'll try to still remember to put the garbage out. So as I lost my train of thought, with Marathon then, with the return on investment, the 5-year ask this time for the contract, part of why we are asking for that is to help keep driving engagement with our employees. So we know it can save the employees money. We know it can save the county money. We know that people who go to Marathon love it. Their approval rate, their satisfaction rate is very high, both their own numbers they generate, and we just completed our own internal benefits survey and we saw the same numbers. I think it's in here, it's about 4.8 out of 5 were people who said that they had a good experience at Marathon. So we have all those reasons for people to keep going, but we also know that there's room to keep driving engagement. Overall, we're seeing about $1,000 per member per year who's engaged with Marathon in less spending each year. So $1,000 less for folks who are engaged over people who aren't. And we know that right now of our employees, we have about 38% of our employees engaged with Marathon. So that's a lot of upside potential. We are able to get that other 72%. We could save $1 million a year. 100% compliance is pretty unlikely, but we know that we have room to grow and we're looking to do more with that through word of mouth. As people have been there, they're telling their friends and family about it. They're telling their coworkers. And we also know that that 5-year commitment can help create a safe space for people to make that switch. Medical care is deeply trust-based. And even with the new pilot, we know one of the things that makes it slower for people to adopt is that trust level. Who are these people? Do I want to go there? And we know that as we extend that timeline, we give people more time to warm up to the idea, more time to hear from their colleagues and friends. And we also know they can then build that trusted relationship over time. To use myself as an example, I started here in March of 25 and I switched over my care for my acute care and then some annual care so I could get my wellness incentive over to the Marathon team there. And now I know that doctor by name. When I go there, she recognizes me and that relationship becomes important. As I'm weighing my healthcare options over going to see a private physician somewhere else, I also want to know that Marathon's still going to be there. And so this commitment helps us in the messaging side of encouraging people to take use of Marathon, knowing that it's going to be here is one more reason for people to feel safe about starting to build that medical relationship at the clinic. So I won't say more. I feel like it kind of sells itself, but I'm happy to answer any other questions for you about why this is such a great benefit for our employees.
Any questions from commissioners? Vice Chair?
This is a great program. It's saving us tons of money. And I think what our HR director is leaving out is the trajectory of the savings. Yes, we broke into from the red to the black and we're actually making money now. But if you look at a linear trajectory of this, where we're going to be in 2 or 3 years, as our employee engagement is like 38-40% right now, when that crosses 50, we'll be saving millions. And I think it's just it was a great use of ARPA funds to do this, and it's going to reap benefits for years to come.
Commissioner Morales?
Can we keep Ozempic now?
I do have one question. I know as we launched the collaboration marathon, we were one of the first employers in. Do you know if they've had a growth in other participating employers to help the strength of the clinic there?
Sure. I do know, yes, the clinic that we're participating with, it was just us and one other employer. There was, I think, New Belgium, Bell's Beer. I know that they do have new people who are joining them, and right this moment, the company's name is escaping me, but I know they've had at least one other company join that clinic. And to help explain their model a little bit, Marathon is a nationwide provider, so there are clinics across the country. One more perk to this, if you're traveling and you're in an area where there's a Marathon clinic, you can be seen there too for free. And so that's terrific. So they are growing. We know that they just bought out another similar provider and have taken over more clinics on the east side of the state as well. So for our folks who do more traveling to the other side of the state, there are, I think, 3 new clinics that are coming under the Marathon umbrella over there. A lot of people know about there is another Marathon clinic in town that is privately owned and operated by the city of Kalamazoo. That one's not part of that network. We're not able to access that, but we continue to look for ways to partner with local organizations, possibly potentially someday with the city, to see if we're able to collaborate efforts in a way that benefits both organizations.
Great, good. Thank you for that update. Anything further from the commissioners? All right, thank you very much.
Thank
you. Pardon me. Let's see. So entertain a motion.
Chair.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Commissioner Wheeler, for the approval and signature of a direct award contract with Marathon Health for health services. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we'll go to item 2026-689. This is for request for approval of a resolution establishing ARPA expenditure deadline for awardees. Let's entertain a motion and open discussion. Motion's made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, and let's open discussion. Administrator, would you like to?
Chair, yeah, absolutely. I don't have much to add other than it just establishes the September 1st deadline, and we'll certainly engage all of the awardees, both internal and external. So we'll get that communication out sometime tomorrow to make sure they're aware of that deadline. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Anything further from the commission? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. This says to request a roll call vote. So clerk, will you please call a roll? Thank you.
Commissioner DeLue,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes.
7 yes.
Okay, now that motion double carries. Okay, let's go on to item 2026-640. Request for approval of a resolution to amend the lake level orders to establish a normal lake level for Austin Lake, Long Lake, and West Lake. I'd entertain a motion. Motion is made by Commissioner Morales, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. We'll open discussion. Vice Chair.
Yeah, since this has been on, I got another text message from a constituent. I'm just wondering, is this something that we can do in 2 weeks so I can talk to like the riparians on West Lake and Austin Lake and see if they're in support or they know? Because I haven't got any, I mean, a lot of the people conversations I've gotten in the last 24 hours, and most people weren't unaware that we were establishing a lake level. If this is something that needs to be done immediately, then I'll just abstain and that'll be fine. But if it's not needs to be done immediately, I'm sure it'll be okay. But I was just wondering if we could move this 2 weeks.
It looks like administrator is trying to reach out for some communication. So I'll you have something you want to share?
I just want to ask.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I too have some questions about it, but we didn't get an opportunity to ask them. How many lakes do we have that have this particular thing? How many don't? And I kind of, is there a reason we need to do this? I'm just kind of curious now. You know, when it came, I was kind of reviewing it, but I didn't have really a whole lot other than what was presented tonight. So I too would be a little interested in maybe a little time.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pro Tem. I know I had an opportunity, I got some outreach from the Drain Commissioner, I think yesterday or the day before. This is seen as a fairly routine item, but certainly we'll get some insight here if they can be reached. It's really just to get more to the letter of the law currently. There's just a lot of paperwork out of compliance. I'm sure there'll be concern from residents around the lake about the prospect of a special assessment district, but there, you know, to the communications at this time, there's not a need for expense to that district. It's just establish it should there be so in the future. Commissioner Wheeler?
Thank you, Chair. If I could just add to that, this is the responsibility of the county. And that's part of the reason why this is taking place. There are a handful of lakes in the county that have an established lake level, especially in Texas Township, particularly. And so it's not uncommon.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Yeah, I understand it's our responsibility, but I'm questioning, do we need to put another tax on people? And basically, it's not a tax, it's a you know, but it could be. So I guess, you know, that's kind of my concern. We've already are putting more burden on taxpayers than we can possibly stand. So thank you.
I believe Administrator has made contact with the Drain Commissioner's office. Go ahead, Administrator.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I did, and he expresses his deepest sympathies for not being here tonight. He's actually attending to another drain matter on the north side, so he just got out of that meeting. He did say there's no issues with delaying it until the June 2nd meeting, and that he can reach out to address all of these questions as well directly with the commissioners prior to that meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And I just would like to say that I've got no problem with the special assessment district if the dam needs to get replaced or something needs to get replaced. I just would really like to talk to the riparians and know if they're okay with that lake level of 863 feet or what, and see if anybody's been communicated or talked with the Drain Commissioner, just to make sure that I don't get yelled at by a bunch of my constituents. So I appreciate that, waiting 2 weeks, and I'm sure I'll be in support of this.
I think now what is in order is a motion to postpone to a date certain. You rescind the motion? Okay, who supported? All right, so the main motion has just been rescinded. Should we still move a motion to a date certain?
Yes, Madam Chair, I would recommend that.
Thank you. All right, I'd entertain that motion.
Make a motion that we take this up at our next board meeting.
Who's second? All right, motion made by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Commissioner Morales to postpone this matter. Where did it go? A resolution to amend lake level orders, establish a normal lake level for Arson Lake, Long Lake, and West Lake to our June 2nd regular business meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Voice vote appropriate for that motion. Okay, we will go now to our item 2026-698, request for approval of allocation to ISK for staffing and operations of medical respite shelter facility for 2026 and 2027 in the amount of $464,746. Motion made by Commissioner Morales, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Streps,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLuke. 7 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Thank you to the Housing Department and to our partners at WMed and ISK. Let's go next to item 2026-725. This is a request for approval of a proclamation of condolence honoring the life of Magnolia Maggie Oley. Commissioner Ray? Motion is made by Commissioner Ray, supported by Commissioner Morales. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLue,
Yeah.
Commissioner Gisler, 7 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. The next will take up 2026-727. This is request for approval of a proclamation of condolence honoring the life of Betty Louise Cunningham. Motion is made by Commissioner Ray, supported by Commissioner Morales. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call that roll.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLue,
Yeah.
Commissioner Gisler, Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
7 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Thank you to Commissioner Ray for the thoughtfulness of bringing those forward. Okay, now we have exhausted that part of the agenda. Let's go to item 14. Our second opportunity for public comment. You can participate virtually at the number previously stated or come to the podium, share your name and where you're from. You have up to 3 minutes with the board. Is there anyone wishing to make a public comment? I am seeing no one in chambers and there is no one indicated by administration. We'll go to item 15, reports of our officers, body, administrator, and controller. I will just in brief recognize Administrator Catlin. We had some discussion with him this evening, and I just want to recognize his exemplary work, my gratitude for the collaboration that we have with him, and thanks for keeping all of the gears moving as well as we can. All right. With that, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. I did want to highlight one of the reports, and you mentioned it, the animal control, Chief Ensign. One of the things that he's been able to do is really look for different revenue sources and utilize, and he's having a really positive impact on the four-legged friends in our community. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him. I think he's doing a tremendous job in his role there. Also, the folks that are still here in the audience for Community Justice Transformation Group, please get a hold of me. I'd really like to learn more about what you had to say in public comment. And I'd like to sit down and have coffee with you guys and talk more about ways that we can be more transformative and more restorative justice as opposed to just punishing people. So thank you very much.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. I too want to thank our administrator and his staff for the fine work they're doing. Also thank our many folks that work for the county and for our citizens to keep Kalamazoo to be a great place to live, work, and play. I want to remember that this is First Responder Appreciation Week this week. Last week was Law Enforcement Week. Kind of reach out to those folks when you see them and thank them for their hard work and their dedication to our community to keep us all safe. Also, Memorial Day is coming up this weekend, and we need to think of our military folks here and abroad that keep us safe constantly. Reach out and thank them for their service. There will be a service out at Fort Custer National Cemetery in Augusta on Sunday. We encourage folks to join us out there to honor those men and women who have passed on, and we want to think of their families and friends who are still here and honor their service to our country. Thank you all. Have a safe week.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pro Tem. Administrator Dr. Kemp.
All right. Thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. Vice Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners, audience. Just want to just share a few highlights of things that are happening. And, you've heard some of these tonight and I've already read some of the reports, but I like to also highlight the great work of our departments just because they do such a great job. So the first one, obviously, as you know, is the Housing Department. They published their annual report that was in the packet, and just some three significant highlights are notable. The county formally developed and launched the Keys to Kalamazoo Housing Framework, which was essential in creating a coordinated county strategy focused on supporting the full housing continuum from emergency sheltering and traditional housing to affordable home ownership opportunities. So that's huge for us. Throughout collaborative partnerships and strategic planning, the county also helped secure a transformational $23.3 million philanthropic investment that will support housing vouchers, shelter expansion, data integration systems, and long-term implementation planning. And then significant progress continued on the landing place project. And obviously that culminated into our ribbon cutting that we just recently celebrated. And it's phenomenal work and a lot of commitment from a ton of departments that was spearheaded by the housing department. So this reflects continued impact of the Homes for All millage, and which has generated $33 million in local housing investment since 2022. So we're very proud of that. And that work has been supporting construction, rehabilitation, homelessness prevention, and support services throughout Kalamazoo County. And so that's all spearheaded by two illustrious senior staff, our director, Mary Balkema, and our deputy housing director, Willa D. Toronto. So we're thankful to have them, as well as, obviously, as you know, they're expanding their department. So we look forward to that. They already have a compliance specialist, Thomas Dayton. And so they're just continuing to grow those services and continue the excellence that, this county certainly expects from them. I also want to highlight the Animal Services Department. They published their 2025 report, as you're aware. And as Vice Chair Taylor and others have said, Director Ensign and his team are just doing phenomenal work. So the department achieved substantial improvements in live release outcomes, with dog live release rates increasing 7% and cat release rates increasing 25% in 2025. And overall, more than 2,076 animals were reunited with owners, adopted, or transferred to rescue partners, which has been the highest total in the past 5 years. So we celebrate that. Animal Services significantly expanded community partnerships and volunteer engagement. The department logged more than 1,400 volunteer hours in 2025 and increased rescue transfers by approximately 330% from the prior year. So we're excited about that. And we also celebrate that the department has modernized several operational systems, including implementation of the first major shelter software upgrade in nearly 20 years, and the rollout of a new online licensing platform that improved customer experience and helped produce the strongest December through February licensing period in the last 2 decades. And I have to say, I'm a fan of technology, and I really do love their new system. The next thing I've asked, Director Ensign to work on is when they give you those dog tags, if they could be silicone so they don't make all that noise on the collar. But he does the same thing, Jerry. He just laughs at me. So that's just that's just one of my things. So wanted to share with this body and the public. It is public now, but Matthew Waite, who is the executive director of the Kalamazoo Defender's Office, has announced his intention to step down following the appointment of a new executive director that process will be spearheaded by their board. So Matt's been very great to work with, and he's indicated that he intends to continue practicing in criminal law. He's been an important partner in helping establish and lead the Defender's Office during a period of significant transformation in the indigent defense services, both locally and statewide. And so we appreciate their partnership in service to the community and wish him continued success. As you know, and he's not with us here tonight, and for obvious reasons, I did send out an email about this to the board, and services are scheduled Thursday, but Deputy Kelly recently lost his mother. And so we certainly express our condolences to him and his family. Scheduled services are this Thursday, and that information has been shared with the Board of Commissioners. And so on behalf of administration, I want to continue to keep Deputy Kelly and his family in our thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. And so we certainly appreciate the hard work that he does. And I'll just say just a little bit. He probably doesn't want me to say this, but he's, sometimes you do have to kind of drown yourself in a little bit of work. I actually thought he was in the building because he was texting me about a matter that was happening. And so I went downstairs thinking that he was here. Anyway, but so he loves his community, loves his job, and really cares about the safety and security of folks in this building. And so we really just appreciate him. And so please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. I do want to just talk about the court's annual report. Both chief judges did a phenomenal job. We have a really good relationship with the courts, and I know that Judge Jaguar and or Chief Judge Jaguar rather, and Chief Judge Hemingway expressed that. But we really benefit from a lot of the synergies that we have here. And so the courts continue to benefit really from their operational efficiencies created through consolidation of services within the Judge Charles A. Pratt Justice Center. We've recognized that consolidating, including even the prosecutor's office and sheriff's intake holding, that a lot of collaboration is happening that just did not and could not happen before when you had them in two different buildings and facilities. So we really appreciate that. And you heard that they're interacting with HRI for eviction services, and our defender partners are more frequently engaged. And so it's really helped that we've consolidated services. Court leadership continues advancing modernization initiatives focused on technology integration, workflow efficiencies, and improved public accessibility to court services. And then lastly, the court certainly remains heavily engaged in specialty court and diversion programming, as they've expressed tonight, which really places emphasis on rehabilitation, accountability, treatment access, and long-term reduction in recidivism. So we really appreciate their hard work, and they have a large amount of staff that we interact with on nearly a daily basis. And so we appreciate their partnership. And then lastly, I'm just notifying the board that I'll still be accessible, but I am later this evening driving up to Crystal Mountain to attend the Michigan Association of County Administrative Officers Conference, and Deputy Administrator Cole is already there. And so we will be available via phone or email. Please feel free to reach out and interrupt us. That's totally fine. We're accessible, but we will return Friday afternoon. And so that's all I have this evening. And thank you, Chair. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Administrator. Who wants to go first? Commissioner Dulu?
I'll go first because maybe you have noticed I haven't said anything tonight, so why start now? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dulu. Commissioner Morales?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the great reports tonight. Thank you for all the proclamations that came, and to our organizations who are out there fighting the good Lord's fight to make sure that we continue to address gun violence. I agree with some of these policies surrounded around loved ones being able to call home. I've experienced that with loved ones where you got 5 minutes. They tell you a million times that this is a recorded call from a federal institution, but they don't want to reimburse your check. So I think it's a great idea, especially when folks are being released and they don't have money to function when they get out. And I know that, I can speak for our family, it's like, hey, everybody give me $20, and we're making sure that they have $100, $200 just to be able to get a decent meal. Even though someone is being punished, it should not mean that they have to live in harsh conditions and, unsafe environments. So thank you all who came and spoke tonight. Condolences to former Mayor Bobby Holtwell on the loss of his mother, former Commissioner Eric Cunningham, and our Deputy Kelly. Mommies are special, especially with Mother's Day. Just, Sally being on Sunday, I lost one of my sorority sisters Sunday, who was a mother of a 2-year-old. She died on Mother's Day. So this week has been kind of heavy for myself as I watch people mourn their mothers and feeling a tad bit guilty because I'm celebrating mine. She's going to be 70. And so, they say the good Lord give you 70 ticks. So, you got to take care of yourself, and life is just too short to be dying on a hill. Right, John. What else do I have? Oh, so me and Coach Williams took on some elementary basketball teams, kickback sports at the Douglas Center. We lost, two of my nephews play against each other. We lost the championship game last week. They changed the time this week, so I missed the game, but we won the championship tonight. So my second and fourth graders who are, it's a mixed team. So I got 2 girls and about 5 boys, and we make sure everybody gets equal playing time, and they won tonight. So congratulations, babies. And that's it. And if you're at, I hope to see you all at the YWCA event this Thursday. And if you're there, you'll see why. Have a good night.
Yes, which reminds me, I failed to recognize Commissioner Morales tomorrow is being honored as a YWCA Woman of Achievement tomorrow at their, congratulations. In a cohort of amazing other women. So, but congratulations, Commissioner Morales. All right, Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out to our meeting tonight. It's not very often that our room is completely filled, so it was nice to see everybody who was out here and as Commissioner Morales said, doing the good Lord's work. So thank you very much. I want to extend my condolences to Deputy Kelly and his family during this difficult time. Ron is always there when we need him, so I will be there for him in his time of need. I think that's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, commissioners, administration, staff, community. With that, we are adjourned.